There he is, Mr.
How's it going?
Trost.
Right on.
Anyway, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
I've been following you on social media for a while. I've been more or less keeping up with you since I was in high school and I saw All Superheroes Must Die for the first time, and I
Oh my
love
God.
it. And so I mean, this is kind of a big deal for me. I mean, I'm a fan of yours, man. I just showed him the FP for the first time.
Oh gosh. How'd you go?
It was pretty good. I can't.
Great. Yeah, it's a wild one. All my movies are out there. If you like them, you're a certain sort of person, which I enjoy.
Yeah. Well, I just watched Waves of Madness this morning actually to get ready for this, and
Oh, awesome.
yeah, I liked it. It seems like you've got a lot of the same sensibilities that I do in terms of certain things. Like, I mean, obviously that was very Resident Evil inspired
Oh
and
yeah.
survival horror inspired, and I'm a big survival horror video game fan. So
Right on. Yeah, I mean, like the first Resident Evil video game on PlayStation 1 is probably my favorite video game of all time.
is it?
Are there better games? Sure, but I keep going back to which one have I played the most? I've probably played that game like 20 different times, all the different versions, and
Mhm.
I play it like once a year. It's like one of those good books you just go back to, and it's like whenever like everything's too much, I'm like I have no idea what I want to play or how I want to relax. That game just kind of like finds its way back into my life.
And I love there was even like an SD Perry reference in that.
Oh yeah, that's definitely for the very eagle-eyed Resident Evil fans. Like if you're a
Yeah.
true Resident Evil fan, for me, you know exactly who that is. So
Yeah. No, I mean, I I caught on to it, so I guess I don't know if I'm true eagle eyed or what. or
yeah, I
what.
know, but I mean, if you've just read those books, like which if you're a fan of Resident Evil, you would. But that's definitely kind of like when this movie, the idea for it took shape. Like I've always wanted to make a side-scrolling movie, but didn't necessarily know the story of it. But during the pandemic, I reread all of the SD Perry Resident Evil books.
All
And I
right.
was like, oh man, I gotta do something like this. I love these things
Yeah.
because I got to that point to where in the pandemic, I had this like existential crisis where I'm like, I'm sick of reading things I'm supposed to read. I want to read stuff that I want to read. So I started rereading stuff that I read when I was like a teenager that I loved, and haven't looked back since. I've just been like, if it's over 300 pages, I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I read the first SD Perry novelization of Resident Evil when I was in high school. And like I was gonna read the others, but some idiot stole the all of the books from the school library, so I wasn't able
Oh
to.
man, that's awesome. That's rad. They were even in the school library though.
Yeah. I mean, they had, I don't know if they had all of them or just a few of them,
At
but
the high school,
at our high school.
I mean, at the high school, there was like some straight ass like softcore porn in the school library
Oh, was there?
in the manga section. Yeah,
Well,
I remember being like a sprouting young anime fan and be like, wait a minute.
yeah. That's
So I
that's,
mean,
that's manga. I mean, that makes sense.
SD Perry has a rightful place next to the softcore porn and religious propaganda.
Yeah, if I could someday be like next to all that, like mission complete.
Right. So you're calling us from what, Sydney right now?
Yeah, Sydney, Australia. It's gosh, 10 a.m. over here right now.
Oh, okay, gotcha. It's 8 p.m. here.
Tomorrow. Yeah, I'm also tomorrow. So
Yeah. So what's it like living in Australia being a filmmaker versus, because you're from Los Angeles originally, right?
yeah, I am.
You're from part of it then. So what is it? How is it different there? Or like, did you move to Australia to like benefit filmmaking, like your career as a filmmaker, or what was the?
I mean, it all goes together. I'm at the point in my career now where I pretty much just do it all myself anyway, so I could do it anywhere on the planet, and that would be fine. Like with this movie, I made the percentage of the movie upstairs in an apartment just like this, so it's I can do it anywhere at this point. But Australia, it's cheaper to live down here if you're making American dollars. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to come back here, because my movies don't have to make as much to support me, which is
Right.
so I can continue to be creative and not have to worry about that. Also, we have free healthcare. There's less people down here. People are just generally kind of I don't know. I enjoy it more down here than America. I came here for the first time, like, I guess 12 years ago, and I just loved it. And I was very inspired. And over there, met my wife down here. And then we kind of like right before the pandemic hit, made the decision to move back here. And thank God we did, because our life would have been a lot harder had we been in America when that happened.
Oh, gotcha. So it was a little bit different down there than it was here then.
But yeah, it was. I mean, we eventually got us, and we got locked down for like 6 months and all that. But it wasn't as crazy because there's a lot more space down here, because like Australia is the size of continental US, but it has the population of Los Angeles County.
Oh,
So it's kind of like, there's some breathing room down here. So even though like you're in a city or this or that, like it's just easier, I guess.
right. Gotcha. I see you got a dog back there on
Oh yeah.
your couch. What's the dog's name?
The dog's full name is Stumpy Margarita, but she goes by Margie for short. And it is her sleep time. She had her walk, and now she's done.
Gotcha. Yeah. She looks pretty worn out. So
Yeah, we moved her over right at the beginning of the pandemic, which was wild. Her and our cat, and she went through a whole journey to get here. She like none of the dogs here understand her accent, so it's always touch and go.
right.
She's American.
Yeah, I have a 4-year-old daughter, so I know all about dogs with Australian accents at this point. Regularly on the TV.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know anything about Bluey. I don't have kids or dogs, so
Well, he doesn't have kids that he knows of.
that I know of, I guess.
He knows them. Yeah, Bluey's obviously a big deal when you're
Kids just kind
kids
of
are involved.
into the TV, like the little girl from was it the Vulture guys?
Yeah.
Whenever Bluey's on, kids are just,
I don't know. I was more into Blues when I was a kid.
hey, every generation has a blue dog.
I mean, I guess except for like the Clifford era, right, with the red dog, that switched it up.
I guess that's
But, like
Clifford's pretty cool.
Clifford as a televised property was kind of running the same time as Blue's Clues, if I'm correct. There was like a Bloods versus Crips kind of thing going on in children's television.
I don't know. Aren't they doing a live action Lilo and Stitch now?
Yes, it's in theater now, I believe.
Yeah,
It's in theaters now.
it's
Okay.
already out, man. Like I know,
Oh,
I had the same reaction when I went to see Mission Impossible over the weekend. I was like, wait, Lilo and Stitch has not only been made, it's out.
Yeah, I didn't know because I just saw an advertisement for it like yesterday or whatever.
Yeah, my fiance wanted to see that new Final Destination shitter, and I saw it on the thing there on the Showtime. So I was all like, well, and we went to the theater and there's like no place to park. And I was like, are they all here for Final Destination or are they all here for the live action Lilo and Stitch?
They were there for Lilo and Stitch,
I mean,
judging the numbers.
Those damn millennials.
Yeah.
but yeah, I wanted to talk about Waves of Madness a little bit because there was obviously a lot of Lovecraftian influence that went into that. And I'm a big Lovecraft fan, and I know Vigo's kind of a Lovecraft fan, and so what was sort of the process of writing that? Because obviously it's a survival horror type film, and there's Lovecraftian influence. What was the process of sort of writing that and producing it? Because even from a technical standpoint, it was even pretty impressive how you were able to do the side scrolling thing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I mean, a lot went into it. Like I said, like I kind of got the idea for the story when I was reading the Resident Evil books during the pandemic. But the same thing happened. I was also reading, like, I had this collection of, Lovecraft tales, and one of which, obviously, Call of Cthulhu. I was reading that and I was like, God, the story's awesome. I wish, like, I'd love to inject some of that into, like, that was probably the biggest Lovecraftian influence in the movie. And if you see the whole thing, it's pretty obvious by the end, but the Call of Cthulhu. But then I started, like, thinking about it practically. I was like, okay, if you're kind of adapting Call of Cthulhu, where was the prison? Like, where was Riley? Where Cthulhu was imprisoned and all this? And then when I actually looked up the geographical location, that's actually the point of inaccessibility in the ocean, which is the furthest point in the water from any landmass on the planet. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Did a little bit more Googling.
Wow.
Turns out it also has a name called the Spaceship Graveyard, which is where, they will throw down like decommissioned satellites and space stations and all kinds of stuff because there's nothing out there. Even like animal life, like they're like, you know, fish, there's not much out there. So they dump all that stuff out there. And I was like, wow, this is a really cool location. Like, and as you know, with Resident Evil, like the location is everything. I feel like once you have the location, there's the story. Like at least for me, it was always like the locations like kind of enforce the story. So then I had that and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And I was like, okay, so how do we set something there? And I knew that I was going to make it like a side scrolling movie. So it all had to be like one location sort of thing. Like with Resident Evil, where you have like the mansion or the police station or something like that. So I'm like, how the hell do we get a location to this point? Like, you know, something where we can tell a whole story for a movie. And I was like, cruise ship goes, of course. And then everything just started going from there. And then I was like, all right, so how am I going to do this? And I really don't know how to do CGI, but what I do know how to do with VFX and Photoshop is put plates together. Like, so I went around and took photos of all kinds of things and video plates of things. So it's like, I'd go around and be like, oh, that bench looks cool. That elevator door looks cool. You know, that railing looks cool. And I'd take the picture of it and I'd comp it into, I did everything in Final Cut with like layers on layers and layers of things.
Yeah, I could tell it was all done with kind of layers and stuff too. Like I was like, it was really cool to see because I was like, man, I can kind of like imagine like if I were editing this, how it would be done. You know what I mean? In terms,
and my
very good idea either, but it was like a Photoshop type of, you know, and learning Photoshop to me was like the precursor to learning, you know, After Effects and everything else that, you know, you need to stack layers on layers to do video like that. But
absolutely.
I just thought that was really cool.
Awesome. Thanks. No, I mean, I got the idea again from like back in the PS1 era of survival horror games. I used to love the pre-rendered backgrounds. And that's kind of what they did, to where it's like they didn't have the graphical power to completely render the environments. They made these really cool, like, you know, moving digital paintings. And I was like, I could do that. That could be cool. That'd be a cool vibe. Like, why not? I haven't seen that. And then for side scrolling, obviously, it's like you have to build each panel. And I was like, there's no way, like, I don't have enough space to like get a dolly. And I don't have anyone to like push the dolly to like do like tracking shots and all this. So I just got an 8K camera and I put it in one position and I measured out and I was like, we have 15 feet of usable space. Like that's basically like if we were doing a play, that's our stage. So I'd build each panel of the ship in 15-foot chunks and we'd act out the part of the scene there. And then we move to the next one, you know, you cross by pillar goes by or something really quick. So it all blends together like it's still like one shot and you're scrolling. And then I could just zoom in and out and scroll wherever I wanted in post because I had 8K for a movie that's going to be pumped out in like 1080 eventually. So yeah, it was an elaborate, like, you know, there was a lot of R&D of me like testing out different things, but that's what I landed on in the end.
Right. Yeah, it was really neat. It reminded me of you played Lone Survivor, the indie game.
Yes, actually, that was one of the first games. Thanks for bringing that up. That was one of the first games that I remember playing back in the day where I was like, this would be really cool as a movie. If like, because I was like, this is a really cool like way to tell a story. Yeah. It was like, I think it was that game and Oxenfree that really got me thinking about it.
I'm not familiar with Oxenfree. What's Oxenfree?
Oxenfree is really cool. If you like if you're kind of interested in like side-scrolling storytelling, but also like with a horror element, I won't blow too much for you, but these kids go to an island on like, they're like kind of like going there for a party one night and like they kind of get into like some weird time travel interdimensional being hijinks and shit goes off. But like the story is so well told and it's all just side scrolling, walking around the island. And I was like, this is so neat.
Yeah, that does sound pretty neat. Sounds up my alley.
I definitely recommend it. There's also a sequel that's really good. It just came out like a year ago.
Okay. What platform is it? Is it just
I think it's on everything.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Did you happen to play, because I was thinking about this a lot while I was watching Waves of Madness. Did you happen to play Still Wakes the Deep?
No, I didn't. It's on my wish list. I know of it, but I haven't played.
You know of it then, yeah. Yeah, that was pretty rad.
Yeah, there's so many of those games. I like that there's a lot of, you know, sort of Lovecraft Cthulhu inspired games coming out now. That's been I've liked a lot of those. Like, obviously, there was the Call of Cthulhu game I enjoyed, where it's like you're like kind of the detective on the island. I don't know if you played that. That was pretty neat.
Yeah.
The Sinking City one's really cool too.
Sinking City, I liked. Yeah. Were you talking about the new Call of Cthulhu or the Dark Corners of the Earth?
Well, I mean, if you want to get technical, both.
I guess. I'm not the new one, I guess. But.
The new one's pretty cool. That's the one I played the most recently. The one I played like 20 years ago, so I don't quite remember as much. But in this new like Cthulhu craze that's going on, which is cool.
Yeah, yeah. So you have obviously you have other family in the film industry, and you're from Los Angeles. Were you sort of born and brought up in the industry, or how did this sort of start for you?
Yeah, I was. I just kind of grew up on sets because that's my dad worked in practical special effects, like blowing things up, doing bullet hits, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And it was just always like, summer vacations or like what have you. I was just always on the effects truck or on set. And you have nothing else to do and you're bored and you're just so exposed to it. So you just see what everybody's doing. You're like, oh, that's cool. Movies. I guess I can make some movies. And that just kind of like spiraled out of control. And it just kind of became that thing where like that long lineage of where you're like, oh, my dad was a cop, my grandpa was a cop, guess I'm a cop.
Right.
It's just kind of what it felt like. I just grew up in it, so that's what I'm doing. I didn't really think about anything else.
Right. So the FP was sort of the first thing that you were known for. What did you do before that?
Before that, it was all just like short films and high school stuff that was just, a precursor to teaching me how to do what I was going to do, just, experience building, whatnot. And yeah, then the FP happened and here we are.
Yeah. And that's had has it had 2 sequels or 3 sequels?
So 3 sequels. There's 4 of them now.
Gotcha. Yeah. I've only seen the first one. I hate to tell you.
Okay. That's fine. They're out there. There's also there's a Choose Your Own Adventure book where Jatro beats off Christmas as well. If you ever get interested.
Gotcha.
I noticed a lot of.
We'll talk about that one on our podcast sometime.
Yeah.
I noticed a lot of the tasteful use of 80s film tropes. Well, those I respected that a lot. There, you can't not respect, a white guy in good shape carrying a big log.
Oh yeah,
80s films wouldn't exist if it wasn't for that.
No, that's the only way there was to get in shape back then.
Yeah. You look at Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando pretending to struggle to carry a log.
Yeah, I mean that was the exact reference for that scene, so I'm glad that came across.
Oh,
I think it's pretty easy to get, but
there was that's like the obvious one. It's the most popular, but that was like a super common thing in the 80s and like action films. Like we're at this guy in a flannel carrying a log.
Well, I mean, like in Rocky IV, where he has to train against like the science warrior of Drago, and he goes out and he's like actually squatting trees and things and running around the woods. Like,
yeah, there are some Rocky vibes in that, Rocky Balboa vibes in that movie. I can see it.
That's one thing I can say about the FP is the use of like obvious nods to the 80s media definitely came off as respectful, like somebody who respects that sort of thing more so than like a lot of films that use the 80s tropes like way too cheesily.
Yeah, I just like to make things that feel like they're a lost movie from the 80s as opposed to being like, hey, check it out, we're doing that scene, and like winking at the camera stuff. That's never been my kind of vibe. I just kind of wish I grew up in the 80s with film, so I just kind of those are the things that inspire me. Like, I don't know, maybe one movie will come out every year or two that inspires me now, but back in the 80s and 90s, it was like every other movie was awesome. At least that's how it felt.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, we talk about movies that inspired us. I would have to say, even back in not to kiss your ass or anything, but back in high school, I've always wanted to be a filmmaker, but like I used to want to make superhero movies, right? So whenever I saw All Superheroes Must Die and saw, that like an indie filmmaker type of person could make a superhero movie that was like really cool, I was like, wow, that was really awesome.
Well, thanks. I mean, I appreciate that. Like that movie has gotten me the most like just internet hate and et cetera, that
internet hate.
Oh God, I still get hate messages about that movie.
In
like
what way?
People, they just hate it and they just hate me for doing it. It's like basically it's like the screw you for trying sort of I don't know. It's like I find superhero fans and horror fans can be quite violent, and you put them together and like it just gets out of control. Like people, they get so upset with that movie. I don't know what it was. And like, yeah, I really hit a nerve with people with that movie.
That's
And
strange.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I knew like it was cool. I was like, I'm 22 years old making a movie for like 20 grand with my buddies. Like, piss off. It's just such a, on the whole, like obviously there's exceptions to the rule. Like there's a lot of awesome, sweet people I've met over the years, but like on the whole, the noise you hear, it's like such a toxic fan base. Like they're just, there's so many rules with like superheroes can't do this, they can't do that, they can't. It's like, well, then why the hell even do it? Like you just want to watch the same thing over and over again?
Yeah.
I guess. Then you complain about that. I don't know.
That's so strange because it's not even like it was based on a property. Like it's not like you made a Spider-Man movie or something. You know what I mean?
I mean that's what I thought. But man, they were very upset, and I don't know. But people are crawling out of the woodwork now, like yourself. They're like, that movie was awesome. So it's nice to hear, you know, years later, because like what happened, it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, I don't even remember how it happened, but like somehow the trailer for the movie made its way around to me, and like I saw it and I was like, this is pretty solid. I mean, I've recommended it to people over the years, you know, especially people who like, I mean, darker type of superhero stuff, like people who watch Watchmen and they like Watchmen. I'm like, well, check out All Superheroes Must Die, you know?
Yeah, thanks. No, I appreciate it. Like that was the idea. Like I wanted to do something different and darker and just, you know, deconstruct and humanize heroes, but like people, they're very moody with what you can and can't do with superheroes. I've had a lot of that. If you want to get a taste of any of that stuff, what I'm talking about, just go on the one of the trailers for All Superheroes Must Die, and you'll see like the thousands of comments of
the comments,
what people think. Yeah, but it's great, like the haters and stuff, and then like the ones that like latch on, and then they start like following you and just saying like weird stuff to you all the time whenever you release a video, and you're just like,
like they become your
go away.
Like it's crazy.
It's like, you don't like me. Why are you still doing this? And then I just like to respond to them with kindness, like, thanks for watching, and they go nuts.
Yeah, well, like the more they comment, the more they interact with your stuff, it just like boosts it in the algorithm too. So like they're helping you in the long run.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah.
When you treat them with kindness and it really confuses them, and then there's spiral out of control, there's like hate tornado, and yeah, it's interesting to watch them just spiral out on you, but I don't know why, but they're out there.
So what's your favorite film that you've made?
Oh geez, that's hard. Probably, let's see here. There's so many different ones for different reasons. I don't know, because I'm all at my core, I think I'm much more into survival horror than other things I've made. I think a lot of it was just like kind of experimentation, and just like a lot of times it was like, I've got these friends and I've got this pile of trash and somebody has $5 grand. Let's make this movie.
Right.
Like the ones were deliberately where I made them, where I really like enjoyed it, and it's what I'd like to do more full time, is I think How to Save Us and The Waves of Madness are more like what I'd like to push myself towards, because I just love the survival horror genre. And like I said, like with Resident Evil being one of my favorite just properties and games in general, like that's my vibe. So
right. And you said Waves of Madness was that filmed you said just upstairs in an apartment like that, like it was filmed like one room?
Yeah, with just a bunch of green screen on the wall.
Yeah. So we're sort of in a new era of filmmaking, I feel like, where you know, the technology has become more accessible, the technical know-how. I mean, you can learn how to edit, you can learn how to do special effects just from YouTube.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think this is a great time for, you know, new filmmakers, indie filmmakers, emerging filmmakers. What do you have to say about that?
I do too. I think it could be an awesome time. And also, like, everyone is getting afraid of AI, but I think AI is gonna, not like the generative stuff to where it's like type in like make me a movie, sort of like that's just ridiculous, but like the cool stuff to where if you're an indie filmmaker and like yourself or like me or like anyone, where you know you don't have 1,000-person crew and you're doing VFX, it's like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if I could have somebody else like AI come in and help cut this person out and key out the green screen for me,
right?
And it'll take it 10 seconds as opposed to taking me all day. Like, I think that sort of help is going to revolutionize like indie filmmaking, because we're going to get so many new interesting movies, because now you can have like a workhorse and assistants. Like using AI for assistant work, I think can be awesome. And it's like at the same time, you can't get mad at all AI because we're all using it with spell check.
Right.
And all that's like a similar sort of, like, we've been doing that for years. No one's like, you're taking away all the jobs from proofreaders. Like that, you know, it's a new way to look at things, but I think it's going to lead to a lot of creativity. It'll also get abused profusely by the studios and things. Absolutely. But I think we're in the paradigm shift where you're either going to be making a movie by yourself or you're making $100 million movie, and there's nothing in between.
Yeah.
And that note too, it's like, I also caution younger filmmakers. It's like, try if you can to distribute it by yourself. If you have any sort of following whatsoever, there are so many ways to distribute yourself now and control it, as opposed to just giving it to a distributor and then they just don't care about your movie. They package it up with 20 other movies they don't care about, dump it out there, and you never see any money from it. No one ever watches it. It just goes on a heap somewhere. And like more and more tools come out every day for you to make and release things yourself. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens from that.
I think in like 5 years with AI and the accessibility of, green screen technology and like, I back in like 1999, everybody condemned George Lucas for the bad CGI in The Phantom Menace. And it's like now, that's like below what the average 12th grader can do in his bedroom with a laptop. Like we had more power than they had then for, $1,000 instead of 9 million. So
for free, because I mean, Blender.
We had to
Blender's
buy
free.
a computer.
Well, yeah, you have to buy a computer, but I mean, Blender is better than what they had back then, and it's free.
I didn't have to buy a computer.
Yeah, I mean, Blender. Flow won Best Animated Film at the Oscars with Blender.
Oh, I love Flow.
Times have changed. Flow's amazing.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite movie last year. Like I love Flow.
Yeah, I just saw it like last week, but I thought it was awesome.
But I figure that in 5 years' time, the studios are going to abuse AI, and like every wannabe schlub on the corner is going to use AI. And I feel like trying to find a good artistic indie film or a good artistic big budget film in 5 years is going to be like trying to find a needle in a needle stack, because it's just going to be schlock fighting schlock. Like you see indie artists fighting like mainstream garbage. And I feel like soon enough it's going to be, multi-million-dollar big budget studios and indie guys making the same garbage, fighting for the same spot in the fucking Razzies.
We're very close to that already. I don't even think that's 5 years away. I think we're almost there as it is. Like
it's dystopia.
It's just and it's just trying to find a way. Like you kind of just have to like build these little niche communities, and then it's like, all right, you set up your fan base, like 1,000 people, whatever it is. You just make stuff specifically for them and don't care about the rest of it, because there's no way to cut through all that noise. And like the only way the studio wins and beats all the indie schlock is that they have the marketing money. And that's the only way. And like we used to have it better where, like, let's say on Facebook and things, like if you had 5,000 followers, when you put up a post, 5,000 people would see it. Those are the golden days. That was great. Now you put up a post, maybe 100 people see it, Hold on a second. So there we
go. How does it feel as an indie filmmaker? Because we've talked about this, me and Brandon. How does it feel whenever you say that you're an indie filmmaker and people bring up A24 because it's marketed as if they're independent films with $1 million budgets with a marketing theme?
Oh, I mean, I don't think anyone thinks I work at A24 when they judge by like what I make, but that is just not indie to me. It's just corporate. It's just studios like masking as indie. Yeah, just using like press, like we're indie. They're just an indie studio. Like I don't know,
but it's when you put your nose to the fucking concrete, and somebody's like, "Oh yeah, my favorite indie film's The White House." It's like,
right?
Yeah, I would think
with like 2 giant actors, like 10-20 million budget at least, like. Not quite, guys.
Loving The Lighthouse because I like The Lighthouse.
No, same here. But I'm just like, that's not what I would define as an indie movie.
Yeah.
But that's why I've actually gone to, because if you say indie movie, then they're like, oh, what'd you make? Do you like, or it's, whatever. And I've just kind of now people ask me what I do. I'm just like, I make B movies that 1 out of 10 people are really going to love, and the other 9 are going to be confused or hated.
Yeah.
You're that one person.
I do videos on the internet. I'm a YouTuber.
I've come to terms with like, I don't think B movies are an insult. It is what I make.
Yeah.
Because they're not, A movies being like, the things you'd see in your local Cineplex or whatever. So it's like,
well, A movies aren't even making money anymore,
No.
because
B
they
movies.
pay up the butt for to have Rachel Zegler or whatever her name is, it's Snow White. And was that her name?
I don't know.
I
Fucking
could think.
Close enough.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, and then have like all these stars in it, and then no one goes to see it, and they wonder why they can't make back their money.
Well, like,
Well, yeah, there's so many answers to that question, but they waste so much money on these movies. Like, let's say you're making $100 million movie. You're like, wow, that should look like $100 million. That should be insane. But then when you actually start breaking down the costs, you're like, okay, well, we spent 20 million for this actor. Let's say we spent 50 out of the gate for actors. Then we're going to spend around another 40 or so for directors and producers, if not more. And then you're making $100 million movie, but you're actually making it for 5 or 10. So you're really just making a movie with like an indie film budget at A24.
Yeah.
You're making a summer blockbuster movie, and everyone's like, well, why are these shit? And it's like, well, you have all the corporate like focus group bullshit of a studio movie with the budget of an indie film. And of course, it's just going to fall apart. Like, and when you try to make something we also don't target people anymore. Like back in the day, movies were targeted for certain people who like certain movies. Now, because of like algorithms and things like with Rotten Tomatoes, you have to make a movie that 90% of people think is okay, or else it's a failure. Right. That doesn't mean it's a movie, but like that's how you like when you start spending this much money on movies, you have to make sure everyone kind of likes it. And like that's why we just led to this like just mayonnaise thing. Everyone's so scared of AI. I'm like, we're kind of already there. Movies feel like they're made by AI at this point because they're soulless and they're made for no one because they're trying to be made for everyone.
True.
Yeah, movies lack targeting. We actually, I made a point about that in a prior podcast. But like, we've talked about 80s movies. One of my favorite films of all time is the first Predator film.
Oh, so good.
And they made different trailers to be played with different movies. Like they had a trailer that focused on the horror elements of Predator and one that focused on the action elements of Predator because they knew those are the two audiences they'd pull in. True. And it's like nowadays it's they're not targeted, you know? And so you kind of have this like very like milquetoast moviegoer that's just like, oh, time to go and see brand loyalty movie number 4. It's no longer like, oh, damn, that movie looks good. It's now just, oh, Marvel have made a new movie. Time to go and watch it.
Right. It's like, and also the other scary part of it is like, I will watch thing on couch while I do my emails in the background. Like that's all like it's content, passes the time, fills the silence like that. And now, like if you're making a streaming movie, like if you actually go in to pitch these, you have to write it in a way to where somebody will know what's going on if they're in the kitchen cooking dinner and not watching. And it's just like, well, what are we doing here, guys?
Yeah, but then that leads to like movies, and I've noticed that recently, like movies explain everything via dialogue. It's like you don't even have to be in the same county to understand what's going on because they're saying it.
Yeah. And it's just, anyway, but beyond all of that, that's why with my movies, I still try to target specific people and specific things. So that's why I know I can get a lot of hate. And I'm always like, look, I can't guarantee you're going to love my movie or even like it, but I can guarantee you've never seen it before. But the person who does like it, they're going to really like it because it's just for them. And for me, like as like any sort of artist or creative, like that's what it's about for me. Like I think when we get to the point to where we want, like art's not supposed to be liked by everyone. It's supposed to, elicit conversation, not like has 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. That means it's good. Better go see it. And then you get like, I don't think I've never been in a time, and maybe it's like I'm getting old man, like get off my lawn, but it feels like there are so many, like you'll see all these reviews and things, it's like a masterpiece. Like I've never seen more masterpieces come out that I can barely get through 10 minutes of.
Yeah.
Every other movie I see marketed, it's like masterpiece. And I go see it's like unwatchable.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you talk about targeting, and like even if you make your movies with like targeting in mind, you can still tell when you watch your films that you're making stuff that you love. You know what I mean? Like you're not just pandering. You're making this survival horror movie because you love survival horror.
100%. Like I'm at the point where like I think you're pretty delusional to think you know what everyone else wants. So I just kind of make what I want to see and what I want to make. Beyond that, if you like it, awesome. But if you start thinking that way, you get in the problem we're in. And like, I don't know, it's a weird concept to me to like, I'm going to make this to please drones of people. But I'm like, it's so much work, and like I'm doing it mostly myself. To where it's like, if I'm going to spend a year or two of my life on this, I want to like it. I can't guarantee anyone else is going to like it. So at least at the end of the day, that 2 years comes around and everyone hates it. Well, who cares? I liked it and I wanted it to exist, and now it does. Next.
Yeah, that's one of the things about like the independent film scene, really, no matter who it is. Like, it could be one of the countless, 40-year-old dudes making slashers that you've seen a million times. The one thing that I think the independent film scene has over everything else, and it doesn't even matter what genre of film somebody's making, independent films feel different. Like, sometimes they might just feel bad. Like, I've seen some independent movies that look like they were filmed on a toaster oven, and the actors couldn't act their way through a 70s porn. But like, it's different than Hollywood movies, where no matter what the movie is, it's the same 12 actors and everything's the same. Like, it doesn't matter if it's Spider-Man, Star Wars, or Jack Meets Sally 3 Electric Blowjob. They're all the same fucking movie. They're all 100% same.
100%. And I couldn't agree more. Like, I actually tell people this. I'm like, there used to be a time when you'd watch a movie and you're like, oh man, that's a Scorsese movie. That's a Tarantino movie. Like, just by, you could watch one scene in the movie and you knew that was someone's movie. Now, any movie could be directed by anyone and it can be shot by anyone. They all, like you're saying, they just blend together. And like, I think to a degree, we have things like Marvel to thank for that, because they all have to look the same and be the same. And everyone else like, oh, that's how you make the money. Just make it all the same. Someone likes that. Let's just do that to death. And back when I used to care about trying to pitch movies to like production companies and studios, before I just like wanted to put a hammer in my head, and why you're saying it's the same 10, 12 actors every time, is because it is. They hand you a list and they're like, this is who will be in your movie. This is how you cast your movie. Pick one of those 10. That's it. That's all you get. Doesn't matter if they're right for it or not. Those are the only 10 actors you can use. And we use the same ones over and over, and they just play themselves over and over again. And because it's safe and you're spending so much money on this movie, they have their spreadsheets and their equations and their algorithms being like, this person is guaranteed to bring in X in these markets. No risk. Use them or you're fired.
Yeah, I'm ready for when J.J. Abrams makes a Unabomber biopic starring Adam Driver.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that hasn't happened already.
Yeah, either Adam Driver or Ezra Miller. But Ezra Miller's already in that. What was that? We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Ezra Miller's already nearly the Unabomber.
Yeah. No, they'll flip it around, because at that point, Pedro Pascal will have been the good guy too much, and he'll have to go be the Unabomber to try to win an Oscar.
That's true. That's true.
That is true.
He's hot right now. He's in everything. No matter what you turn on, he's in it.
You know what? That's another thing. And people have made comments about the podcast and my takes on things. Pedro Pascal, I don't know why he's famous, because he keeps getting casted in roles I do not think he fits in. Like, he's not nearly intimidating enough to be Joel. And when I found out that he was playing in The Mandalorian as like this battle-hardened Mandalorian bounty hunter, I was like, why? Pedro Pascal is like your fun uncle that drinks too much wine at family get-togethers and buys you a PS4 at Christmas. He's not a badass.
Totally, and I love him for that. I think one of my favorite roles that I saw him in was, did you see the Nicolas Cage movie where he plays himself?
See, that was great.
Yeah, that's the Pedro Pascal where he like excels. I think he's awesome at that.
What's that called? The unbearable weight of massive talent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like, he can't play like Joel from The Last of Us, which is like a blue collar built badass Texas dad who's been broken into being a guy who will do anything. And then it's Pedro Pascal, like the scene where he gets impaled and he's laying there. He just looks too comfy and cozy and harmless to be a passable Joel Miller.
Well, that's because he's just like watching his bank account like rise and rise off string. He's like, this is nice.
I mean,
didn't they release like the discrepancy between what he was getting per episode and other actors, and it was just like astonishing. Like, that he's making a lot of money. He's happy. He's having great.
How, like, so we talked about 80s films, and like back in the 80s, in order to be like a male movie star, you were like a huge like steroid monster that couldn't deliver dialogue correctly. Like, that was
Schwarzenegger.
You know who changed that? Who changed everything was Bruce Willis in Die Hard.
Well, yeah.
Shift in that. Like, and I know this just because I recently read a book that I recommend. It's called The Last Action Heroes, and it kind of goes through all of that, like rise and fall of that era and everything. And they put it together very like articulately in there, to where everyone thought that movie was going to fail because the first time an action hero after the 80s, like you're saying, all the big tough steroid guys, first time it was just kind of a regularly built dude who like very much could fail and was in over his head, and like that changed everything.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt that way when John Wick came out, because Keanu Reeves is about as imposing as like a ham sandwich. But I think it's weird how like back then that was like the staple of male actors. And this isn't like social commentary. It's just weird how this works. Now, like the highest paid male actors aren't like the hyper masculine guys. They're like awkward, like middle-aged dudes. Like,
Yeah, no, they're these
like
more like
Pedro Pascal and Adam Driver and these dudes that
oh, dude, those guys are insanely manly towards the most popular actors right now, like your Timothy Camelots and
dude, Timothy Chalamet looks like he was made by AI.
yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't exist.
Fucking like, I'm not even. It's like not even to talk about masculinity. It's just weird how like each decade like focuses on some demographic of man that you'll never meet in public.
Yeah. It's interesting how now it's like we're no longer in the era of like, screen presence and just like charisma. Like that's out. That's now seen as like cheesy. And if that happens in a movie, like, whoa, you need to dial that back. Like someone like Arnold would not fly now because he had too much screen presence, too much charisma. Say what you want about acting, but like when he showed up on screen, you're like, fuck yeah.
Dude.
But now, like, if you do that on screen, like, oh, it was so cheesy. Like, we can't have it's just weird. Like the people like Timothy Chalamet, they exemplify that to where it's like there's such like the less is more, and like your Tom Holland types and all these sort of people where it's like I could just imagine every single take you have the director being like, can you do less on the next one? Thank you. And it just becomes that and that where it's just like less, like nothing. And it goes back to our mayonnaise like concept of movies now where like nothing can stand out, because if it stands out too much, it might be a risk. It has to just don't rock the boat. Don't disturb mom in the kitchen making dinner. We can't have any of that. Make the movie, just let it go.
Well, a great example of that, and I think you would probably even appreciate this, is the two versions of the Justice League movie that exist. You got Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is what it is. There's nothing else like it. But then, what happened during the production of that movie, and he had to step away, and they made their own version of it, which was basically, Marvel Light.
Yeah,
you've seen the Justice League movie.
I've seen them both. Yeah, and it's wild what they did. Like,
yeah. But that's a great example of movie by filmmaker versus movie by studio, I think.
Yeah, and it's getting harder and harder. I think we're seeing the tail end of that, because once all the old guard of your filmmakers, like, someone's like, like Chris Nolan, those people, they're like young, but it's like those guys are in their 50s now.
Yeah,
they're not going to be around forever. And once that guard passes, the studios are never going to let newer people have creative control like that. Like the days of Final Cut and things are over for directors. Like nobody's getting that anymore.
Yeah.
They closed that gap.
Yeah, I think Hollywood kind of started to die once Will Smith slapped Chris Rock.
I think Hollywood.
I think it was dead long time before that.
Well, it's been dying, but the illusion of Hollywood, let's say.
I don't know. Yeah. I think the illusion of Hollywood died when Sylvester Stallone stopped talking like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When he stopped doing the.
I think for me, if I had to pinpoint the moment when it was like we passed the point of no return and it was only going down from there, was the moment that Disney bought Star Wars.
It was when Dolph Lundgren started to speak English correctly.
What I'm saying, just like from a financial point of view, they bought Marvel, but and that was definitely a tipping point. But when they bought Star Wars, which was something that was sacred, and then it just showed everyone nothing's sacred anymore, it's all about money, and then everything just started getting gobbled up by everybody, and now it's just like 5 tech giants that own everything, and there's no like filmmakers or creatives in the process. It's like tech bros,
right,
that are billionaires that are saying what movie gets made and what's good, and it's just we're screwed.
What confuses me about the Disney Star Wars merger more so than being a sign of the death of Hollywood, because, you know, they haven't done anything. Like nowadays, everything's streaming. You know, nobody goes to the movie theater anymore.
Yeah.
You don't want to get bed bugs and listen to some 16-year-old get a hand job 3 rows behind you as a formative moment of his life anymore. You just sit at home in your boxers, drink fucking 8-pounders of fucking EVR, and, you know, watch The Mandalorian till you piss yourself or commit suicide, one of the two.
Right.
Like, what gets me, and I want to talk about this, fucking, did you see the book of Boba Fett when that was announced?
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of neat. They got the guy that played Jango Fett in Clone Wars, because, you know, Boba's a clone of Jango. That makes sense. But the guy's like 55 and he's like, you know, out of shape and he's old. And so, like, all of the fight choreography in that series is like painfully hard to watch. And they started out, they're like, yeah, we're gonna have Boba Fett become the new crime lord. He's replaced both Jabba and Bib Fortuna, but because of Disney rules, he can't do anything bad. I was like,
that was an interesting thing, and this, I guess, circles to a point that I have again about the Disney Star Wars merger. I was a massive fan of Star Wars, like loved the originals. Like I even like look, I enjoy the prequels. Like, say what you will about the movie making, but at least the imagination is there. Like those worlds and everything are so neat, so cool. Like the world building's awesome. But like I have played so many of the games, read books, everything. I am now at a point to where I'm like 5 Star Wars shows behind, and I don't even care to catch up.
Same.
If you told me when I was 20 there'd be a time when there'd be like really high budget like Star Wars shows and I wouldn't give a flying shit about them, I'd be like, no way. And I just don't care anymore. Like, it's not special. Like, it's the same shit over and over again. And it just all feels like fan fiction made by studios. And you're just like,
I mean, you really can't even be excited about Star Wars anymore because it's everywhere. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, you used to be excited when a Star Wars movie's coming. Like, especially like when the prequels came out, it's like, whoa, they're doing a new Star Wars. It's, you know,
well, it was sacred because you had to wait like 30 years in between. You know, it's like
exactly.
Have you seen Andor?
I haven't. That's
Actually,
another one.
I will say this: watch it because it's like it's the grittiest, most like PTSD inducing Star Wars thing to date. Like, it feels like you're watching Afghan war footage in space.
Yeah, but I mean, which sounds cool, one thing, but then I'm also like, do I want that? Because like Star Wars was kids' movies. They're just like swashbuckling, like
pirate kids anymore. If kids watch Star Wars, they've got Jedi baby classroom or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I feel like content in general has gotten so miserable, and like Hollywood's also been on this thing where it's like, if 5 of your main characters don't die by the end of the movie, your movie sucks. And I was like, remember, like, I used to love it back when like I go to the theater to see an Indiana Jones movie. I don't have to worry about if Indiana Jones is going to die at the end of it. But now that that's a general concern, you see a new movie, you're like, God, how many people are they going to kill? And it's just such a like, I miss like good guy goes on journey, it's tough, and you know, he makes it out in the end. Like even Aliens are like, oh, this movie's stressful as hell. Ripley still makes it out. I don't have to be like, oh God, they're going to kill Sigourney Weaver. Like, no.
Yeah.
They can't kill Glenn Danzig. No, let me tell you, when it comes to like the J.J. Abrams shit and like the new age Jedi baby classroom garbage, I'd rather let Jar Jar Binks give me HPV than watch that shit. I promise you. But I will say Andor is the correct amount of grit and still feeling like Star Wars. Like, it's not Warhammer or Berserk. You're not going to like sit there and be all like, I might kill myself tonight. But you're also not going to be sitting there like, oh, this thing is jingling fucking keys at me. Like, it doesn't feel like recess in fucking preschool, but it also doesn't feel like you're watching Solo. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Recess in preschool was pretty fun because that's when I used to play with lightsabers.
I don't know. Yeah. I think I didn't go to preschool, so like recess when I was 4, I think was like helping my grandfather find 10mm sockets on the garage floor.
I think the hardest thing with Star Wars and why it's become so boring is that they're terrified of carving new ground. none of their shows or movies or anything has carved new ground. The thing that was so exciting about when there'd be new Star Wars, when George Lucas would do it, was whether you love or hate it, he's going to carve new ground, expand mythology, and tell new stories.
Mhm.
But with these new movies, and shows, everything is based upon something we already know or have seen. And even like why I guess I'm not as excited with Andor, even though I'm sure it's good and I do want to see it. I have people keep telling me this. I'm like, it's still based upon shit I already know. Like, I wish they would just go forward with the IP. Like, I don't know, why don't we go to a new galaxy we've never been to before, see what's going on there? And, you know, a new alien race is a threat from, I don't know, maybe there's something beyond like Force users beyond Jedis and the Force, or then like Sith. Like, maybe there's some other big bad, like anything, like just expand the universe. Stop just like, it's the same shit over and over again. And it always, there's the callback of like, oh, remember so-and-so? Here's his episode. I'm like, I don't care anymore.
Right? Like, what if two aliens were just arguing over a woman at a cantina bar, dude?
We're not making Star Wars Seinfeld.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we need. Call George Lucas. We'll have him fix Star Wars, not by cutting new ground, but by making new goofy aliens with dumb fucking names.
Dude, if we
That's
did
right.
well, if we have Ewok Adventure, we could have that.
Well, I mean, I'm shocked we haven't had like the Fast and the Furious spin-off to where it's like pod racing in the galaxy. Like, that'd be sick.
Yeah. With Vin Diesel playing.
Yeah. Playing Din Diesel.
No, dude, he's gonna play a
Odawa Din Diesel.
Wookiee with a BBL named Long Shingzawade or some fucking shit.
Well, he's gonna play Groot since it's all Disney now.
Oh shit, yeah.
Now, I'm surprised they haven't like. I mean, do you think we'll get some Star Wars characters in the new like Marvel Secret Wars?
I don't know. I mean, what if they do like a Kingdom Hearts type thing where, like, you know, Kingdom Hearts combined Disney with
Everything.
Final Fantasy? Like, what if they did that, but with like Marvel and like all the Disney properties?
Look, man, when it gets dark and both properties stop making any money, I'm sure we'll see it. That's like, they're gonna have to do something.
Yeah, Star-Lord.
Oh wait, isn't there like an online Disney game that has that?
Yeah, we need Star-Lord to get in a celebrity boxing match with General Grievous.
Yeah, the fans have to know.
Yeah, I gotta know. We gotta have Ben Quadinaros start an OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I want to see his alien dong for $20 a month. Fucking
Well, if that's what you want.
Ben Quadinaros and all those goddamn droids.
Look,
better start getting naked.
the good news for you is with AI, that's just a couple prompts away and you can see anything you want.
Chat GPT. Show me Ben Quadinaros' alien dong. That'll put me on a fucking government watch list. Tulsi Gabbard will sodomize me with that.
Do not allow this man near Area 51.
I don't want to see alien dong for a sexual reason. I'm just saying it'll save Star Wars. If we get the Ben Quadinaros OnlyFans, that'll save Star Wars.
Well, but we need to know what happened in that 1 year gap between the other two TV shows. Fans have to know. That's a whole
have to know what happened on the 21st night of September.
Now, because what you don't know is that was the most important night of Han Solo's life, and we need to make a trilogy about it.
Han Solo got a hand job from a Twi'lek in the back of the Mos Eisley Cantina, and that inherently taught him how to blow up the Death Star, guys. Didn't he have a spinoff?
Yeah, but they didn't do a whole trip. I think they only made that one.
I'm sorry.
I actually thought that one was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I was still starry-eyed back then that Star Wars was back, and I remember enjoying myself enough when I saw it. I haven't gone back to like actually see. I haven't watched any of them twice, so I don't know.
Yeah.
We need a Lando Calrissian spinoff where
they've been trying to do that for years.
But instead of Donald Glover, he's played by Steve Harvey because he's old now.
God, I mean,
have you seen any of the fan edits of the new Star Wars movies?
No,
because people like do their own edits. Like they'll take either like the deleted scenes or the scenes that are already in the movies and like take the stupid stuff out and like add the cool stuff back in. Like they did. What was the second one of the new trilogy? Was it The Last Jedi?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that movie, the theatrical cut of that was whatever the hell it was. But
Yeah.
there was a fan edit I saw that like made the whole movie badass, and I was like, man, if they would have just like hired this
Like,
guy as the editor.
Did something happen in this cut? I feel like the other one was just like 2.5 hours of talking on a spaceship.
Yeah, well, they okay, for example, you remember the part where Princess Leia gets sucked out of the spaceship.
Oh yeah, and she
like,
turns into Superman.
yeah, she like Mary Poppins is her way back
Yeah.
into the spaceship.
Yeah.
Well, they changed that that Luke on whatever the name is of the planet he's on. He senses that Leia's in danger and then uses the Force to save her from like millions of light years away, however far he is. And like the music gets all dramatic and like it's way, like it's a badass scene. Like they make the most ridiculous part of the movie amazing. If I can find a link to that, I'll send it to you.
There's the other half of people though, they swear by that movie and that scene. They're like, that's the coolest thing that's ever happened in Star Wars. So I don't know.
There are things about that movie that I like.
Not to continue to be the weird deviant, but can you explain to me why, after the hero's journey of Luke Skywalker, he became a space hermit, like drinking fucking alien titty milk?
Yeah, I just didn't know why we needed like Luke to like be so downtrodden and out, and all of a sudden it's like, and I get the like don't meet your heroes thing they're trying to go for, which goes back to my like thing where Disney just likes to just like take all the heroes and like, remember your hero you loved? Well, now they're basically a fucking they're a heroin addict ODing on the Force on like a planet by themselves, and they're a failure. Or they did the same thing with Indiana Jones. Remember Indiana Jones? Well, now he's just a lonely old asshole in his apartment in New York. And you're like, what the fuck, man? What if yeah, I mean, that's just Harrison. But you're just like, why do we have to do that to everybody? Like, what if like one of the heroes, like, I don't know, was still cool when they got older and it was inspiring? I don't know.
Well, there's that whole other lore that they had before Disney took over that it was like the books were the sequels of the original trilogy where I don't know how that lore goes, but it's they call it something else now. It's called Star Wars
like the expanded universe or something. Yeah, it's
something like that. Yeah.
But no, I've heard some of those and they're cool, man. And you're just like, every one of those was better than what they came up with. And like, even when you like, they'll give you little snippets every once in a while, get let out of like the trilogy that George Lucas like basically handed them like the treatments for what he thought the next trilogy should be. And you'll hear stuff about that and you're like, that actually sounds pretty cool. And they just use none of it.
Yeah.
Their own, key jingling thing, like you're saying.
Yeah. And I thought, I mean, I never read any of those, but I remember like, going to like the public library as a kid and seeing those and thinking like, wow, the covers of those look really cool. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Not that you can judge a book by its cover. But
somehow the Emperor returns.
Somehow Palpatine's back.
Somehow Palpatine's back.
Yeah.
Poe Dameron, the most unlikable Star Wars protagonist of all time. That guy's fucking cardboard. You get a Mary Sue and cardboard the whole fucking movie. Palpatine's back and Adam Driver is an antagonist. Yeah, be what the fuck anyone was thinking.
What if Darth Vader cried? That's what we need. And is like kind of like a whiny, bitchy teenage boy. That sounds good. That sounds like Han Solo's son.
Like what really gets me though, and what really bothers me to no fucking end, is like we've seen all of the fucking Jedi do some form of training. We saw Luke do it down in the swamp. We saw even Anakin, the chosen one, the ultimate fucking like get rich for fucking free card. Even he did a little bit of training, but then Rey's just all like training.
Yeah,
never heard of her.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not true. She went down into that like hole and like saw herself in a mirror or something on that island where Luke was ODing.
I mean, after the fact though, like by then she had already bodied fucking what's his name? Kylo Ren. One-on-one, her first time ever holding a lightsaber.
Yeah. Duh. She's that powerful. Like because she's Emperor Palpatine's clone daughter or something. Like I don't know.
I don't want to be one of those fat guys in Nebraska that's all like, "Oh my god, they made Darth Vader circumcised. I hate women." But like, the Mary Sue shit's kind of like in the new shit. It's like just because we have a female protagonist doesn't mean she just gets to fucking do the thing for free. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think a Rocky-style training montage learning the Force could have gone a long way.
she could have at least like punched a tauntaun loin in a freezer or something. Like, what was her
Dude,
biggest?
Ray punching a boulder would go hard, like Chris Redfield in a
Yeah.
boulder.
What was her like?
Oh, yeah.
What was her only conflict in that she kind of wanted to fuck Adam Driver?
No, she had to lift a pile of rocks.
Adam Driver looks like if somebody drew Keanu Reeves from memory in that movie, and I don't like it. Looks like if the guys that did what was the Rocket Power drew Keanu Reeves.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And he's built like a cereal box with legs.
Look, Adam Driver, I'm not going to say it's his fault or anything, but he somehow was in a movie that I don't know how you fuck up the concept, but did you guys see the dinosaur movie he was in, like 65 or whatever?
No.
Where it's like he crash lands on an alien planet that might be Earth. I don't know. Maybe he went like back in time like Planet of the Apes. I can't really remember because the story was convoluted, but the idea is basically he lands on a planet full of dinosaurs and has to survive with this little girl. And this was like a bigger budget movie, and you're like, oh, how do you screw that up? And the movie was boring as hell. And you're just like, how do you make this movie boring? You have $100 million movie with laser guns and dinosaurs, and I'm bored.
Look,
What does the world come to?
I'm going to tell you right now, J-Tro, we're going to edit what you just said to Adam Driver on an island with a little girl and put it on tabloids. I'm sorry to tell you now, but I've got to pay my car payment somehow.
Yeah, Jason Trost accuses Adam Driver. You'll get plenty of publicity out of it, so don't worry.
That's great. No, let's have it.
Adam Driver casted a new Jeffrey Epstein biopic.
Oh,
Oscar buzz.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be directed by Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
Adam Driver, don't sue us. Meryl
Driver,
Streep, you can sue us. That's fine.
Adam Driver, please don't sue me. Just yell at me like you yelled at your wife in that one shitty movie.
Oh, God.
I wake up and I hope you die. Or whatever. What is that? Marriage Story?
Marriage Story, yeah.
I hope you get some disease.
That was a real painful watch.
Yeah, it just reminded me of my parents.
Yeah.
Well, Jason, we've got 5 minutes left on this call, so let's do a couple rapid fire questions here.
Jeez.
You're asking us.
No,
Okay.
no. DC or Marvel?
Oh, God. DC.
Easy.
Silent Hill or Resident Evil?
Resident Evil, just because Silent Hill's kind of dead. I mean, I loved Silent Hill growing up, but yeah, Resident Evil.
French fries or baked potato?
Oh, God. French fries.
Let's see, the FP or Waves of Madness?
Waves of Madness.
While we're here, actually,
You just ruined
Tell
the
us
segment.
no. Tell us about because there was a post credits scene for Waves of Madness. So we have a sequel coming.
We do, hopefully. I'm hoping to get started on that in the next couple months here after I get done being like the main publicist for Waves of Madness and finishing my interactive horror experiment movie thing I'm working on. But yeah, hopefully in July-ish, I'll start building the backgrounds for that because I like to build all the backgrounds before we shoot. So I kind of can tell people what to do when they're on just a green wall walking around and be like, you're in this set. Oh, okay.
Gotcha. So you haven't started fundraising for that yet, have you?
No, I haven't started fundraising for that yet. I have the script, but I haven't started building. I need to like build some of the sets, get a teaser going, but I have to get a couple other things off my plate before I can properly start that. And I'm hoping by July, that'll be when I can start on that.
Gotcha. Awesome. So if people want to follow you, how would you recommend or keep up with what you do? How would you recommend that they do that?
Well, I am on all the socials. You can find me. If there's a Linktree that I have. It's just J-Tro Presents. Everything's on there. Where I'm at, I have a Reddit page I've started, which is just Jason Trost. Go on there so the algorithms don't screw you over. Also, if you want to get my monthly newsletter, which I've now started, you just have to email me at FP Forevs, FPFOREVS, I believe, at gmail.com. Wow. And I'll put you on the mailing list.
High school email if I've ever heard one.
Oh, yeah. it's actually not. We invented it for like I think FP2 or something. It just is stuck around forever.
Oh, I know. It just sounds like something that like someone would come up with in high school.
That was the idea. If it was Hotmail, we'd be there.
Now, because I think if they ask this question, would you rather be stuck on an island with Adam Driver and a bunch of fucking dinosaurs,
Okay.
or locked in a Denny's with Jar Jar Binks and a lifetime supply of Viagra?
Well,
That's the hard-hitting question.
What if
that's a very hard hitting question. Like, I may have to go the Adam Driver route just because there's a high likelihood that I'll die pretty quickly. As to where with Jar Jar, it's going to be a long, slow death with a lot of pumps.
I mean, it depends on
Because look, I remember Jar Jar. You think like, oh, I'd overpower Jar Jar. That guy's like 8 feet tall, man. It's gonna be me. He's gonna be the one with the Viagra. That's gonna be a long, slow death.
you're gonna both need Viagra? You're gonna be sword fighting with Jar Jar.
he's also
Yeah, like-
canonically force sensitive. So
And look, Adam Driver. I'm not gonna have any problem with Adam Driver trying to do that because he's got the little girl on his hands, and that's the sights are gonna be on that. I'm gonna be surviving against the dinosaurs. Like, we'll see.
Well,
It's a sitcom.
it was good to talk to you and good to meet you.
Yeah, you too, man.
And Jason Trost, new movie, Waves of Madness, out now on I watched it on YouTube. It's also on Amazon Prime. It's on what else?
I think it's on Google and Apple and all the digital things. And then the Blu-ray is coming out on the 4th, which has all the making of and bells and whistles. So
I'll watch it, or Jar Jar Binks will get to you first.
Yeah. Well, that's Jason Trost, everybody. Thank you for the call and good to meet you.
thanks so much for having me. Good to meet you guys.
Yeah. You have a good one. See ya. And good luck on the, celebrating Waves of Madness, the new success, and the next movie, everything. So,
Awesome. Thanks so much.
yeah. You have a good one. Thanks.
See ya.